Welcome back to Greenwood Bonsai Studio. It's Monday morning here. I've just finished my last introductory bonsai course for this year. We do about 20 dates on intro courses every year, and we did the last one yesterday. We just tidied down the studio from that. This is a little tree I worked on yesterday. Just thought I'd show you a few trees and things that we're doing here on a Monday at Greenwood. We've got a few bits and pieces in here we're just tidying up at this time of year. And on the intro course in the afternoon, we work on these blue cypress, boulevard cypress, or some of you might know them in the US as blue moss cypress. And we have this nursery stock material like this, and I do one as a demonstration. This was the demonstration one I did yesterday, in about 30 minutes or so, to show the students how to turn nursery stock material like this with a bit of trimming and wiring and potting into their first bonsai tree. So that's in there, a little before and after, just to show you. And we've got a few trees in here, just things I've got to get worked on today. We've been quite busy recently, and we are aware that we've therefore not managed to do many YouTube videos. So I just thought I'd show you a little insight into the sort of things that's happening at Greenwood at this time of year. We've got about a week or two now before we'll start dealing primarily with indoor bonsai in the run up to Christmas. People buying them as gifts off the website, and we start dispatching them all over the UK for Christmas. But we've got a few trees in here that I just need to sort out. Let me just walk you through them and tell you a little bit about what I'm going to be doing today in the studio. At this far end here we've got a Ezo spruce, and this was bought in just as an example to show people on the course. Imported Ezo spruce from Japan. It's currently got some guy wires on it in training to pull these branches down, and this grows quite slowly. It hasn't been trimmed this year, but it's ready at this time of year for some of these longer shoots here just to be trimmed back. It's quite a laborious process with this because of the density of it, but a fine pair of scissors, and when I get round to it, there's probably a couple of hours work here, just going through, just taking back some of these longer shoots, just to get it more compact back into here. Look, it's quite a nice task to do. It's a bit cold outside today. We're definitely getting some more autumnal weather. We're in the studio now. It's all been refurbished. We've got a log burner in here, so we can sit in here in relative warmth and comfort, and we can fiddle with trees like this. So that's on my list of jobs to do. A little bit of work on that Ezo, one of my own trees out my collection. This is a Nothofagus. I think we've shown this on one of the previous videos, and it's been in leafing really nice this year, gone into autumn colour, and of course it's dropped its leaves. You can see the beauty of the twigs and the craggy bark. We put a little bit of wire on it in spring, just on this upper section here, so now this wire can come off. It's done its job, so we can just use wire scissors just to snip that off, just work our way along. It's a lot easier doing it at this time of year than doing it when it had leaves on it. Just persuade that to come off. Look, if we snip each section off, and that bit up there like that. So there's a few little bits of wire we've got to take off that. I think this branch here seems to have died off this year, though it did have leaf on it in spring. You might not be able to pick it up on the camera, but when you look at this tree, can you see that this branch here has just got a different colour? It's on more grey, and if you look closely here, it's just a little bit dried out and wizened along its length here. And if you scratch it, it's not green on the inside. So it was good this year, this branch, but for some reason the tree's given up on that. It can drop branches, so this one I suspect is going to have to come off next year. But we have wired this one down to fill in, so I've almost preempted that. I don't really like the structure of that branch anyway, so it's not a big issue if we do have to remove that going forward. And what else have we got here? This is a European larch, been imported from Europe a number of years ago, and it's recently come into us here at Greenwood. It's a really old tree, beautiful movement, nice piece of deadwood here and trunk on this side, and this is in a John Pitt handmade bonsai pot. John said this pot wasn't actually made for this tree, it was made for another tree, but the owner ended up using this because the pot this was in got damaged. So I've done a little bit of trimming on this tree. We might do a little bit of wiring and styling, but we want to put it into another pot. So we were looking around to see what we've got available, and we've got a couple of options. This is a pot from in the shop, a nice Chinese pot, and this is a new finish, this clay, and it's like I think it's like a sort of hammered antique leather kind of look, and it's really nice. Now at this time of year, with the golden needles on the larch, this is a very autumnal tone. I think it would work. I'm not quite sure whether it will work with the tree as much in spring and summer, and potentially that's a good sort of size. So that was one option, pop that just there, and then we found another one, and this was an interesting pot. This is a pot by Ian Bailey. He's a Scottish bonsai potter, and I bought a tree in a few months back, Scots pine, and it was in this pot. It's not like most of Ian's pots. This very rustic finish, oval with the rivets on, beautiful craggy pot. It's about I suspect it's about 20 years old. It's got some nice patina on it, looks really nice. I'm just thinking the cragginess of this larch tree, the detail in the bark, this pot would be absolutely smashing if we can get that tree into it. I think the match between this and this tree would be phenomenal. So it's not the right time of year to do that now. I'll do it in early spring, about end of February, but it's just in here for me to think about it, and I think we have decided to definitely try to get it into here in Feb. It might be something we feature on a video at that time of year when we're doing it. A little bit further along, we've got the Siberian elm. You've seen this before in our videos. Obviously just going into autumn colour, leaves are just pretty much fallen off that now. That was just in here to be on display to show people at the weekend. Here's a crab apple. This has recently come in. It just came in the other day as a part exchange. Absolutely covered in fruit. Must have flowered very heavily this year. A little bit of a longer shoots, want pruning off it. There's a little bit of wire on it in there that wants taking off. So this has been part exchanged against a larger specimen. So this has come into us here at Greenwood. So we put that on display because it's a beautiful, beautiful display with all the apples on. Over here we've got a little little Chinese juniper, beautiful little tree. That's just been coming as a part exchange. The owner part exed it against a larger maple. So that's just something we've been trimming and working on. There's a Kotahimi maple here in autumn colour. Again, just dropping its leaves. This was imported from Korea a number of years ago, and I've been working on the branches. It's quite slow growing, so it does take some time. And it's in a beautiful blue crackle glaze Gordon Duffet bonsai pot. We've got the cedar Lebanon in here. We featured this in a few videos, and this is in here for wiring. We're going to just change the front of the tree. The front is going to be round the back there, but I need to get all these branches wired, so that's in here for when I get a minute. I can do some wiring on that tree. And what else have we got over here? We've got a Benishidori maple. This is one that came into my collection this year. It was in quite a small pot when I bought it, and I've been trimming the foliage back on it to get more density. It's just had a prune on the apex especially, and we put it into this pot to give it a bit more room to grow. And the lower branch here, this was always a little bit wispy with these branches hanging down. So while it's in here at this time of year, just going to take the opportunity to pop a little bit of wire onto these low branches just to try and lift these up. So this piece of wire up, we can just place it on. We're not going to wire this section so much, but this bit further down. So we're using a bit of 2.5mm aluminium wire, and be careful because it's quite delicate. We don't want to damage the branches, but if we can work this wire along and through like this, move this one out of the way. Just loosely wire it at this time of year. If you do this in spring, the wire can cut in very quick on a maple and damage it. So this time of year is not too bad. And we can just loosely wire it like that, snip that off just there, move this out of the way, come back round to this section, let me wire it left-handed, and you can see a bit clearer. My hand's not in the way of the camera. So just a little list of jobs that we've got to do today before these trees go back out. Obviously these are outdoor trees. So before it gets lifted back out into the cold, we'll just do a little bit of work on it. And again, with here, we need to wire this section here, this one here. We'll pop this on like this. Just put double wire on there. And then this piece. Through here, just enough to guide this branch along like so, and another one like that. Just loosely wire it using this heavier gauge of wire, and we'll step down to a finer gauge for this little bit here, and we can wire that across just onto this section, and then this piece down. Do it left-handed again like that, just a bit tangled up, just to get a better shape to this first foliage pad on this tree. Benishidori maple, bright pink leaf in spring, really quite striking. In fact, we've got another one of these turning up tomorrow, a specimen tree that somebody's bringing along to for us to buy. So once that's wired, you know, it's unusual to be wiring branches to bend them upwards, but I just want to get rid of that sort of floppiness of these. This can come round here a little bit, put a little bit of movement in here like this. Move this one up. So if you look from the front now, we've just got rid of the bits that were hanging down too much, and we've got a flatter, better structured foliage pad. Now we can go further with it. Just here, look, there's two branches coming out this section and they're sort of crossing over. So again, this could we could wire this to position these and these two here. So there's a little bit of work involved in that, but I just wanted to show you that bit. That was the bit that was annoying me more than anything. And then over here we've got another tree it's been in the studio for a few days waiting for me to work on it. It's a very large hemlock. It must be about, I'd say it's about 1.3 meters tall. It's in a handmade pot, but it's been in the pot a bit too long. You can see it's starting to lift itself out of the pot as it's putting on roots. It's been trimmed and wired in the past by the previous owner. It has got some quite bad wire scars in here. We need to do something about them. We need to wire it, make it look less noticeable. And in here on the foliage, look, it has got bits of dead wood, twigs that have died off in here, branches that aren't doing anything. So we've got a whole section there, look, little bits in here. So we've got sort of dead bits like this that need to be taken out, and here. And we've also got bits like this that aren't really doing much and being very healthy. So my job for this before it goes outside is to cut the dead bits out, and then these live bits I'm just going to just shorten them back a little bit like this. Just take the tips out of these strong growing shoots just to balance the vigour. You know, you hear me talking quite a lot about balancing vigour on trees and pruning them back, and that's what this needs doing. So a little bit of pruning in here, taking out some of these dead sections, pruning back some of this long growth like this. So there's a few hours work in here today to keep me busy, just titivating these trees and doing bits and pieces. So just thought we'd show you, give you a little catch up of what I'm doing today at Greenwood, and in the next week or two we'll get another tree in here and we'll do a nice demonstration for you from start to finish on a tree. Please give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and all the best with your bonsai.